Originally, I was going to make a King Kong 2005 review, but after realizing how long of a project that will be, I decided to review something much smaller in the meantime, and to come off the heels of my making a gaming music video of Far Cry Blood Dragon, I figured why the hell not. Far Cry as a series has been well known for their mediocrity, slowly diving into obscurity as of the release of Far Cry 6. I won't be going into the downfall of this once great series, but I will be reviewing one of its greatest downloadable content, cause since we're almost at 200 subscribers, I feel like I owe you all something, so as a token of my appreciation, here is a full in-depth review of Far Cry Blood Dragon. This review will have spoilers, so if you want to play it, I highly recommend doing so. If you like high-paced action gameplay, sadly you'll have to also buy Far Cry 3 since this is a DLC, but trust me, if you like cheesy one-liners and over-the-top gunplay, then it will totally be worth it. Story-wise, this game doesn't have very much going for it. It's a loose amalgamation of reused 80s action tropes and plot lines sprinkled with a neon retro arcade style that never seems to get old. You play as Sergeant Rex Power Colt, a cyber commando, if you will. The bare-bones basics of the story is that a rogue army called Omega Force is trying to take over the world, and that you are the only one who can stop them from enslaving humanity. Not to mention, this all apparently takes place in the year 2007. While I would like to go deeper than that, there really isn't anything else other than the main story, which focuses on you getting revenge on your previous commander Sloan, who you served with in Vietnam 2.0. Yeah, the story isn't much to write home about, but that isn't why people play this game. No, people play this game because of the gameplay. Now, I should probably start with critiques. The base game being Far Cry 3, a Far Cry game, means that this game generally follows the same structure as being a pussy-ass bitch until you put in the effort to level up and upgrade stuff. Now, this isn't a bad thing, but here it kind of feels out of place in a way. Now, I'm not saying that the game shouldn't have had any form of progression, but I also don't think being so low-end at the literal beginning of the game makes any sense. I'm a cyborg ninja with neon shurikens and laser guns, for fuck's sake. The progression should have gone from powerful to invincible, but that may just be me. Otherwise, I love the gameplay. The fact that I can go from using a lever-action shotgun to using a semi-auto-quad flame shotgun is wicked awesome. The progression is also pretty fun to go through. I did this game at 100% completion and found it to be fun clearing out outposts and finding TVs. It was pretty easy and quick since this game is a short DLC, all the collectibles being some form of 80s nostalgia. Now, I never lived in the 80s. I wasn't born until after the attack on twins, but I still somehow felt the nostalgia for shit I didn't even grow up with playing this. Gunplay in this game felt as shitty as all other Far Cry games, but yet it didn't really matter since in this game it made sense for it to be like that. I can't really hold them to any other standards since there aren't any other standards. Now, enemy types are the same recycled stuff from the base game, but reskinned to look the part. There isn't much else to them other than how they can be dealt with, which is exactly how you deal with them in Far Cry 3. Leveling, progression, and skills are linked together, meaning unlike other Far Cry games, this one doesn't give the player the freedom to unlock whatever skills they want via skill points and instead locks skills to levels gained. This isn't bad. I actually count it as a good thing, since this takes more effort off of the player and puts it back into the fun part, which is killing people and blowing shit up. The only downside to this is that it may require a little more grinding than usual if you want to be able to do everything in said skill tree. However, if you do all the side stuff and a couple story missions, then it won't matter all that much, and you'll be level 30 before you know it. In summary, for gameplay, it's basically the definition of just shut the fuck up and play the fucking game. There is no deeper meaning behind anything here. There isn't any long, stretched-out story to boggle down the player and hinder their control. There aren't any long, unskippable cutscenes, and what little cutscenes there are entirely optional. Once you pass the beginning tutorial, you are free to just have fun to your heart's content. This whole game is just fun through and through, so take a deep breath, relax after a hard day at work, and play the fucking game. The world this game takes place in is interesting to say the least, all of it being something people in the 80s would have given us as a post-apocalyptic future movie. The neon lighting set on a dark, dreary landscape is pretty cool looking and is definitely not something any other games have given us. The enemy types are reskins of the existing ones from the base game, which again isn't bad. I actually really like the aesthetic of Omega Force. The mix of science fiction and weird 80s clothing seems to fit really well with the vibe of this game. I can say for certain the aesthetics of this game are unique. I have yet to see another game copy it or try using the same vibe, let alone succeed in the same way this one did. I can't describe how huge my boner gets when I see Rex give a love sign with his robot arm and an electric charge emits from his index finger to pinky finger when you level up. It's one of the most subtle badass things I have ever seen. The use of neon is also very common in the world. From Rex's knife and shurikens to his bow, it isn't used to a point where it gets overused, but it isn't underutilized to which it makes me wish more of it existed. The blood dragons that exist throughout the world also look unique and badass. I don't think I've seen anything like it in any other media. Name a single other franchise that has flightless dragons that shoot laser beams out of their eyes. I'll wait.
You know, I have one simple request, and that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. Now, evidently, my cycloptic colleague informs me that that can't be done. Can you remind me what I pay you people for? Honestly, throw me a bone here.
At the same time, Rex himself has so many one-liners I bet he has them memorized for every situation. He could be getting a divorce with crippling depression, losing custody of his children and his house, and yet he would still manage to slip a clever, witty comment in there somewhere. Unlike his main game counterpart Jason, Rex isn't caring over the people he kills. While Jason is portrayed as a psychotic loose cannon ready to blow at any time, Rex is shown as a careless, witty badass who kills for breakfast. The weapons he uses reflecting this: an explosive shot sniper rifle, a flammable semi-auto shotgun, a laser rifle, a suppressed burst-fire Beretta, and a weapon so overpowered and fucking absurd that it's literally just called a Death Star. This weapon gets attached to Rex's robotic arm and fires a large laser beam that explodes any living thing it comes into contact with into a fine paste, the only drawback being that while in use it drains your life slowly. The only other game I could compare this amount of testosterone pumping, absolute badassery to, is Doom 2016. The uninterrupted heart-pounding overpowered button mashing that we all need in our lives. Overall, Far Cry has since been absolute shit, but this older game shows that Ubisoft had a chance to make good games. And to me, it's pretty sad that the best example of games they've made is isolated into a DLC for a much larger game. Don't get me wrong, Far Cry 3 isn't a bad game, and it may even get its own review on this channel, but I also don't think this should have been relegated to being an expansion. And if given the chance to be fleshed out into a full commercial game, it could have been so much better. Ubisoft may be slowly dying, however the games they cemented in history are far from dead. From Assassin's Creed to Far Cry to Watch Dogs, they have made some memorable characters and stories for us to cling to. Regardless, have a fantastic day, and remember, I regret nothing.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what